Have you got a latex cuff fitted to your dry glove system and you've either cut it too big so it doesn't fit, or have you ever ripped it and wonder how you go about swapping it? Are you a proper Scrooge and you want to just change it yourself so you don't have to pay someone else to do it? Well, watch this video, I'll show you how to do it. Hi, I'm Andy the Northern Diver and welcome to another episode in this series of scuba diving tutorials where I'll be showing you how to change a latex cuff seal on a KUBI Dry Glove system and maintain the O-rings for longevity of life. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button below because it just makes it so much easier to see any of the other content that we've produced, which is a couple of hundred videos now. Clicking the little bell icon to the side of that'll give you a notification every time we do post a new video, which is quite regular to be fair, so you might get kind of bored of that, so maybe not click it. And if it is of some use to you and you like what we do, please give me a thumbs up. Gives me a nice little warm fuzzy feeling to think that you've enjoyed the content that I spend hours and hours making. So if you can do that for me, I'll be overjoyed. If you've got any comments and any ideas of either what I've done or new videos that you'd like to see me make, leave them in the comments box below, and I always get back to anyone who leaves us one, unless it's a nasty one and you just get deleted. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So I've got this KUBI Dry Glove system fitted for a couple of years to this dry suit now, and now it's winter, I'll be diving a slightly different dry suit, a neoprene one. So it's time for me to maintain all my kit, and I have had to swap these wrist seals out once before because the ones that came with the system were quite cheap and thin, and they just ripped one day and I was like, oh, flipping heck, what am I going to do? But it turns out it's really easy. So two types of O-ring pick. You've got a stainless steel one or a plastic one. I'm going to give it a go with the plastic one because I don't have any replacement O-rings for this, but it might be a faff, so I might have to swap and just be really careful. So first of all, there's an external O-ring. You just want to pick that off, and straight away I can see there's loads of bits of grit and sand and stuff in here because I've been diving this in all different places all around the world, and because it's never lubed up, it's quite hard to get this sort of internal ring off. But if you push hard enough, you can see there's two rings on there. Push the inner one through, and sometimes it just needs, just. So I've got one side out now, and I'm just going to try and thumb that around to make it slightly easier. Come on. Right, that's it, that's out. So pull it out, lay it on your bench. So looking inside there now, well, you can see what's on the end of my finger, but there's tons of grains of sand and gravel and crap. So I'm just going to run my finger around that. Yeah, it's absolutely minging. So wipe it on your trousers and start having a look at your actual cuff that you've pulled out, which is heavily dirty. So first of all, much like on anything you're taking apart, using the right tool, take it apart and lay it out in the order that you took it apart. So the first one off was this thinner black one, lay that there. Next one's the red one. Then we've got the latex cuff that's pushing through. Now, there's no damage on there, but it's absolutely filthy. So I'm going to pull the cuff inside out. Pull it, try and manipulate it off the ring. Now straight away I'm looking at the orientation of this ring. Now it's slightly sort of conical. There's two big rings and a little ring, the little ring being the outer edge. That's really easy to see if you've had these for some while, because all this is all sort of damaged and bashed and this looks like new. So just make sure that you're aware that the thinner ring is the outside one and the two bigger ones sit inward. Now looking at my cuff, which I replaced last year for a much thicker latex one, that's in quite good nick. So what I would ordinarily do is just get it under the tap with some warm soapy water and just give that a wash off. O-ring, give a wipe down with the cloth again, making sure that's alright. No damage, leave that out. The cuff ring, it is a bit filthy, so give that a wipe off. I'm going to leave the red one to last because it is absolutely filthy, and I don't want to take off that what I'm going to put onto the next one. Now I'd suggest this is as bad as I thought it would be, because there's quite a lot of lubricant on it, quite a lot of that silicone grease. So I'm going to pull that all the way around, and then I'll swap to a cleaner part of the cloth and hopefully get a lot more dirt off there. Might end up using my t-shirt because this cloth isn't very big. And that feels smooth all the way around, there's no obvious damage to it, but that's the bit that's keeping the seal watertight as opposed to holding it together. Right, so that's nice and clean now. There's a slight indentation where there's perhaps been a bit of sand. Oh, I just scratched my nail over it. It's been pushed into the O-ring, so I just literally managed to pick out a piece of sand, so that's good. But that's in good nick now, so everything's nice and clean, short of just the inside edge of the glove, of the cuff, the rubber cuff, latex cuff, whatever you want to call it. So if you look at that, it's a brand new one now. There's a clear inner and outer. The outer's got loads of different rings. If you're going to cut that so it fits your cuff, basically your hand doesn't want to be going blue while you're wearing it, so cut one of these rings back at a time, get it on, pull it on. Can you get your hand in? And does it, after a couple of seconds, turn your hand blue? If it doesn't, you've probably got the right size. If it just snaps on really easy, then you've probably cut too many rings off. I find it quite important to grease these regularly because they certainly start to get tired, and if you can get any sort of gunk and put that around your arm, on your wrist, even like moisturiser on your hands, they sort of fly through into the cuff, right? You know, really easy. So we're just going to turn the top over. I'd say that's probably about an inch, and making sure that I've got my cuff on the right way around, I'm going to stick that in. So what you could do is like what we did with the dry gloves earlier. You could just pull that over the top, so it's just encapsulating all of the metal ring. So it's pretty even, that. So that's somewhat where it needs to be. And now you've got to try and remember which O-ring you need. Well, the last one off is the sort of closest one. So try and roll that over the top. Again, I'd sit that down like that and just try and manipulate it round whilst holding it on with your fingers. Again, tricky if you've got a bit of silicone grease all over your fingers. So looking at that now, it's in position. The latex cuff looks pretty even all the way around, so you can fold that over the top. And then you can thread that back through, and that's in a position where it needs to be now. So next we're going to put the sealing O-ring on. Not going to put it on without putting any grease on. So just a little touch of grease on there. Just keep manipulating that around. It shouldn't feel any sort of abrasive parts on there. There shouldn't be any bits of fluff, and if there is, just try and get them off. That's it, sit over the top and goes to the middle. And again, because it's quite tight, you just need to, you know, be a bit more forceful with it, making sure, like I've not done, that there's no bits of hair or fluff or anything that's attracted to that. So that's pretty much it now. We're not going to put this on until we've fitted it through the dry suit, because once we've done that, that's what holds this in position. So picking up your dry glove system, or your dry suit with the dry cuff system fitted, making sure that that is nice and clean inside. What we're going to do is thread this through now. So bring that through and try and get it somewhat lined up, and hopefully you've put enough O-ring grease on that red O-ring that it pushes in much easier than it pushed out. And then all you've got to do is make sure it's even, and then you can put your final O-ring over the top. Done. How easy is that? I wish the first bit was easier because I wouldn't have spent 20 minutes trying to push it out, but that's it, it's done. So All you need to do is do that probably once or twice a year, depending where you dive and how often you dive, and it'll just keep lasting forever. But without sealing them and without putting that back in place like we just have done, and making sure them O-rings stay clean and tidy and maintained, it will start to cause you leaks, and then you'll be cursing everyone under the sun except yourself because you haven't done your maintenance properly. So if it's been of some use to you, this video, please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, and if you can be bothered, hit the little bell icon. That way you get a notification every time you see any of our videos. And if you're interested and you fancy a brew, come and watch our podcast. Thanks for watching. See you on Insta.